Looking on to next week, like I said, there wasn't much to talk about for this week, but I did want to get some thoughts out there because, there's some things to think about as we head into the next week because there's some bigger games next week, right? So, Darrell, to start us off, when we look at week 3, I'm going to start with one of our top 25 matchups. That is Georgia versus Tennessee. I think for me and you,
Knoxville.
This will be, I would want to say, our first look at Georgia because I'm not going to watch them play those teams. It doesn't interest me to watch those games. So
Georgia hasn't impressed. They haven't impressed, but they could be holding some back for the Tennessee game. They had 2 cupcakes, right? And I think they were holding some back for the Tennessee game. They're in Knoxville. High-powered offense. You got a young quarterback in Georgia who's his first year starting. He's got something to prove against bigger talent. So this will be a good test for them, but I say Georgia by 10.
Okay. I mean, when you think about it, right, it has the makings of a possible upset, but it will be tough because it is Georgia, right? Kirby Smart.
It's tough because it's also Rocky Top as well.
That's right.
So it's not going to be and when I say, 10 points, 2 touchdowns, I'm not saying that's not a blowout in the SEC because how those games are played, right?
No.
38-24 is not a blowout unless, it's a late touchdown by Tennessee that takes them from, 38-17 to 38-24, something like that. No, I think this is going to be a highly competitive game.
Notre Dame, Texas A&M. That's at 7:30 on NBC. It's been hyped up a lot.
Get your popcorn ready. They thumped Texas A&M last season at A&M.
That's right.
They controlled the game, the whole game. Coming off of a loss to Miami with a bye week. A lot of tape they watched. It's going to be the best talent they're going to probably play the rest of the season. Notre Dame wins that game, they run the table the rest of the season.
All right.
I'm calling it right now.
I'm looking at it right now. So there's another game on here that's interesting. So I will bring it up. You got 2-0 Arkansas versus 2-0 ranked number 17 Mississippi State. That's on ESPN at 7 o'clock. It's an SEC conference game. So I'm just curious what you think.
I got to give a shout out to my guy, the great cornerback from Arkansas, Razorback lore. My boy, Harold Harris, is watching this video. You better watch this video, Harold. I'm taking your boys. I'm taking the Hogs. Let's make it happen. I know you're going to be tailgating at the game, Harold. You're going to be there making things happen. I'm taking the Hogs. Hogs have come around. They've got Bobby Petrino as their offensive coordinator. They've got the second best NFL talent football player at quarterback in the SEC. Talk about Hogtown and then the talk of the Hogs. That player, I forget his name, but there's a lot of talk about him, his athleticism, and what he can do as a player. And I know my boy Harold Harris is going to be at the game. I'm hoping for a Hog win, but I've got a lot of confidence in those Hogs against Mississippi State because they're not. I think they're in Arkansas, right? They're in Arkansas, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I guess so. There will not be any cowbells. No cowbells. Give me Arkansas 27-17 over Mississippi State. Harold, you owe me one for that one.
I'm looking at something. Oh, okay. I saw Villanova's taking on Penn State. I'm like, I thought Villanova didn't have a football program. They do.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it really took me on guard. I'm like, wait, but they made it. Okay. I just saw that. It gave me a little bit. It was interesting to me. I think the Razorbacks have a shot. It's an SEC game. I would hope Ole Miss will win, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Because Lane Kiffin, he's trying to get that Bama job, so we'll see what.
No, you said Mississippi State. Do you say Mississippi State?
Ole Miss. It's Ole Miss.
Oh,
Ole
you
Miss
said Mississippi State. I apologize. I thought it was Mississippi State.
No, I said Ole Miss.
Now, well, I'm still going to take Arkansas since I said it.
Okay.
Harold Harris, you better bring on the W because I called it right now. Kentucky gave Ole Miss a lot of problems last week, a lot more than I thought they would. They're in Razorback country. I'm still taking Arkansas.
Alabama, Wisconsin. You're pretty confident Alabama wins. I agree as well. Clemson, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's 2-0.
Georgia Tech. I don't want to say it.
It's in Georgia Tech.
But I'm going to be watching that game, man.
Yeah.
Clemson, doesn't look like the team that everyone I got a buddy of mine that said they were going to go undefeated this year. I won't say Brandon's name
Georgia
out loud.
Tech?
I won't. No. Clemson. I won't say
Oh,
Brandon's name out loud that he said that Clemson was going to go undefeated, but he said they were going to go undefeated. So they if they don't make it happen this coming week, count your playoff wishes goodbye.
another game that could be a little interesting. You got undefeated Vanderbilt, who, isn't probably the doormat of the SEC anymore. They're still pretty bad, but they're not the doormat anymore. They take on South Carolina. Lenoris Sellers and that crew, Shane Beeler. I think I said his first name right. Shane. Is it Shane?
Yeah, it's
I know. May not be Shane. But either way, I like what South Carolina has building. I really hope they can keep it going, but this is a game. It's in South Carolina, so maybe there's not a lot to be worried about. But, Vanderbilt, they're not the doormat that like they used to be, so you never really know.
I like South Carolina still. I've said it before.
Yeah.
I like South Carolina. I like what they're bringing in. I like the fact that their coach is a difference making type of coach.
Mm-hmm.
His dad coached at Virginia Tech for all those years, and I think that he's taken a lot from his dad and brought it over to South Carolina. They thumped Virginia Tech. They had a squeaker last week against South Carolina State. This is not a make or break game. This is a big game for South Carolina to show, hey, we're not just an up and coming. We're going to thump Vanderbilt, and we're going to be ready for the SEC conference games as we go.
Yes. I'm going to look at the top 25 rankings here, if I can pull it up. There we go. So you got Ohio State at 1, Penn State at 2, LSU at 3, Oregon at 4, Miami at 5, Georgia at 6, Texas at 7, Notre Dame at 8, Illinois at 9, Florida State at 10, South Carolina at 11, Clemson at 12, the Sooners at 13, Iowa State at 14, and Tennessee at 15.
Yeah.
That is the first 15
a lot
there.
of SEC Big Ten in there, ain't
a lot of, yeah. And then after that, you got Ole Miss at 17, USF at 18, Alabama at 19, Utah at 20, Texas Tech at 21, Indiana at 22, Michigan at 23, Auburn at 24, and then Missouri at 25. I think Texas Tech, not next week, but I think the week after, they've got a pretty big game for them at least. It'll be a top 25 matchup, depending on, I don't know. They've got a matchup coming up. I think Auburn has a big game coming up next week or so. So college football, it's a bit interesting. It's very interesting at the moment. I think the one team we haven't talked about a lot yet is Oregon, but they also haven't played anybody. I think we're going to talk about Georgia.
We can reserve conversation. Yeah. There's been nothing to talk about with Oregon other than they've been dominating.
Yeah. Georgia, we haven't talked about either, but we'll sure be talking about them after this game against Tennessee.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. 2 easy wins. Their schedule is going to get tougher. We'll see.
Is there anyone that I listed that you're not really sold on? So for me, I'd probably say Illinois.
Maybe because we'll see. We didn't anticipate Illinois, but they brought a lot of guys back from last season. They're number 9, but they've got the next couple of weeks. They're going to see where they stand and where they are. And this Indiana test is going to be a big test for them.
Yeah.
But the teams I'm pulling for Florida State to run the table. Okay. I want Florida State to run the table, and I want LSU to continue to win. Because there's some things going on. Let me rewind. I want Georgia to beat Tennessee, and I want LSU to run the table up until they come to T-Town. Those are my 3 hopes. Florida State continue to win. Georgia wins until they come to Georgia, and then LSU to win until they come to T-Town. That's what I'm hoping. Those are my wishes.
I want to see LSU. I want to see LSU win the whole thing, but that's just me, though.
Keep on winning, LSU. Keep on winning. Keep on winning. But I'm telling you this coming week's gonna be interesting to see what the fight and choke artists do.
We'll see.
You're away from home. You're away from home.
No, they play Florida. They play Florida and LSU.
What was I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking Georgia. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 2 interesting games, right? I mean, Florida's going to LSU. I think
LSU takes care of Florida. I think LSU takes care of Florida.
But like we've said, the Kellyisms.
We got these games cross-pollinated, right?
The Kellyisms are real. That is for sure. And then No, I mean Texas and Georgia on paper it could be an upset. It sounds like an upset with the quarterback, playing at Rocky Top, but we will see. Notre Dame, they're coming off losing to Miami. They
Bye
so
week.
and then they haven't played since. So I mean, some people would view a bye week as a good thing. You just lost to Miami, now you're on a bye. Now you're playing another top 25 team. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
like it because they needed that because Miami was physical, and I promise you, after this A&M game, they'll say, "Man, those guys are physical."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm curious, man. I mean, it's really, really interesting. And then, man, I'm very excited about college football this year because there's so much. There is a lot to be excited about. It
Yeah.
feels like the SEC is, I think a lot of people, and even me and you, kind of thought like, especially with the SEC, like it was Texas, and then there was everybody else for the most part. Georgia was going to be good.
That's what people
You
were
know,
saying. I wasn't saying that. I wasn't. I said Texas was the class
yeah,
of the SEC, but I think there are four teams in the SEC could win it all.
yeah. Who are those four in your mind? Like,
Texas, Georgia, Bama, LSU,
okay, okay. Who's on the outside looking in?
South Carolina, Tennessee, Ole Miss.
A&M.
Depending on what happens this weekend.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
don't sleep on Oklahoma. I'm not gonna sleep on Oklahoma. They've had two impressive wins.
You're just
Let's see what
waiting.
happens.
You want to wait a little bit. I think that's fair. I'll pull up the SEC real quick. Right. I mean, Ole Miss. I just don't buy it. I don't. I think at the end of the day, talent isn't there. For me with Ole Miss. Looking at everybody. I mean, a lot of these SEC teams are undefeated, but you can kind of sort that out, right? Like Missouri. For some reason, Missouri's ranked all the time, but they're never legit. Props to Mississippi State. It's not going to be like that for long. Auburn is Auburn. So you can kind of weave out some of those
Yeah.
teams. But I agree, right? You've got Oklahoma. They looked pretty good, but let's see. South Carolina. I really want to see South Carolina be successful because I'm a Lenore Sellers guy, right? I would hope.
Shane, like you said, Shane Beamer is a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
He grew up in a coaching family. The guy can
Yes.
coach, and now
Yes.
he's getting players.
Yeah.
Sellers is a real player. They lost a lot on defense though, and it kind of reflected a little bit last week against South Carolina State.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Beamer can coach. He's going to be at South Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised for the next 20 years.
No, I think South Carolina, Oklahoma, they're definitely those teams, two teams where I'm like, okay, maybe. I think Oklahoma is more of a team where it's like, if they're close to being in the SEC championship, I'm not shocked now, right? I think South Carolina for me, it's still like, okay, I got to see them beat somebody. Like I got to see them beat a Tennessee. I got to see them beat an A&M. I got to see them beat one of these higher level SEC teams before I say, okay,
that's fair.
I can buy into you. I want South Carolina to be in that spot, but it's like I can't. Like Oklahoma, I could see them beating one of these. I could see them beating LSU. I could see them beating Bama because they've done it before in the past. We'll see how they do because I remember when Texas and Oklahoma came into the SEC, and granted they still had Lincoln Riley, where it was like, okay, I mean, when these two teams were coming in, everyone thought Oklahoma's going to be good off the bat, Texas won't. But it flipped. And I mean, a lot of that probably had to do with Lincoln Riley, him taking a lot of that better talent over to USC. But Oklahoma
materialized. It hasn't
materialized. I agree.
And so maybe it was just the Oklahoma way, right? Because it hasn't materialized out west.
And
Texas
Oklahoma
has shown they've been in the playoffs and they beat teams in big moments.
And RJ Young, he's a college football reporter for Fox, and he said, he's like, this is what Oklahoma has been building to these last couple years since they brought in Brent Venables. I don't know how to say his last name, but
Venables. But here's the thing: there was also talking about getting him his butt out of there.
I know,
because he struggled. So we gotta, building my foot. Because if you see a guy building, you're not saying he's got to go. So they need to calm.
A lot of people say that. That's about I get what you're saying.
That's about TV. Venables hasn't done squat at Oklahoma, and I'm telling you this. Now getting into the meat of the SEC, let's see what happens. If he ends up at 7-5, the talk is going to be the exact same thing. I don't think he's going to be 7-5. I don't think he's going to be 7. I would say more like a 9-3 or 8-4.
Like if you told me right now Oklahoma is playing in the SEC championship at the end of the year, I'd say, okay, I see it. South Carolina,
Well, you better clear your glasses up because I don't see it.
South Carolina, Tennessee. I gotta see something. I mean, Tennessee. I feel like there's always this hype around Tennessee, and then it just kind of, they play Alabama and they play Georgia, and you're like, well, that's Tennessee for you. So let's see what happens.
Well, here they come this week.
Here we go.
Here they come this week, right?
Obviously, I think Georgia, LSU, Texas. Those are my big three right now. Bama. I mean, I gotta see you beat somebody after losing.
Listen, man. Listen, this is more of a homer call, right? Because I've seen them more than anybody in the SEC,
yes.
right? So I'll admit that. But I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances with 4 and 5 star players across the board with the DNA.
Good little flex. Okay.
I'll absolutely take my chances.
You flexed on me there. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not like, look, Bama's probably like, they're still 4th, but I just, it's like, okay, let's see. You beat
you gotta see. You can't lay an egg this week against Wisconsin, or you can't go and get boat raced by Georgia when you go down there to Athens. You can't do that. But if you think about it, Bama's pretty much has had Georgia's number. The championship game that won you, but you're talking about the SEC title games and the title game in 2018. So they've been right there. They're still kind of like, we're hovering over your shoulder. Be careful. So that'll be interesting to see.
It's going to be interesting. The Big Ten. I don't really know how to feel yet. It just feels like it's Oregon. It feels like Oregon's there.
It's
Penn
Oregon
State's
and Ohio
there.
State. It's Oregon and Ohio State.
It doesn't matter.
Now, if you want to talk about cutting the line, Oregon and Ohio State are up here.
Everybody else is just there. Yeah, I know. I agree. Honestly, if you want me to be honest, I think it's just Ohio State. I mean, Oregon.
I think Oregon's good. I'm telling you, I think Oregon can give them an absolute run for their money.
ACC, we kind of hit on this last week. Miami keeps it up. It's going to be Miami Clemson at the end of the year. We'll see what happens. Maybe Florida State. and I want to give.
I'm hoping for Florida State.
That Cal quarterback. I don't think he stays with Cal if he continues to put up numbers like this. He'll enter the portal. Let's be honest.
We'll talk about him next year. This time we won't be talking about him.
If he hits the portal, it'll definitely be news. But Miami looks good. There's nothing much to say there. We already touched on the Big 12. They got Iowa State, but that's about it. Texas Tech is ranked, and they got all that. They got that influx of money coming in. Yeah. It's not this year. They're 1 year away from being 1 year away. So we'll move on. We'll move on from the Big 12. Well, RIP the Pac-12. That still makes me sad. But anyways, that's going to do it for this recap of college football. This will probably be cut into 2 segments where we talk about week 2, and then we'll have the preview of this week up on Thursday night or Friday night. Darrell, before we leave, last minute thoughts you want to get out about college football, and then we'll get out of here.
It's finally here. Lo and behold, I love every Saturday. Every Saturday.
It's fun. It's fun. And I think the pod has only made me more excited. I've been watching Todd McShay. I've been watching a lot of these guys because I'm a quarterback guy. So it's like, I want to see who's draft eligible, right? And he's been talking about Klubnik. He has been talking about Nussmeier, Sellers.
I want to say this. I do want to say this, and I want this to be a clip. I'm going to say this, period, point blank. We talk about what the college football season looks like. As a Bama fan, I love the NIL. I love the fact that it's leveled the playing field. People talk about, Bama had all the players. They didn't have all the money. Many other schools had more money than Bama did. The difference was they had a guy named Nick Saban. And when the NIL came on board, Nick didn't want to deal with that. And I respect that. I love the fact that you can look at the college landscape right now and you can honestly say between 10 and 15 teams have a decent chance to potentially win the title. I think you can, when things happen, injuries, I think it can happen. I think that's good for the health of college football. I think it goes long term for the younger viewers and younger audience to continue to create this lineage of teams. I think the NIL has created a level of balance that nothing else was able to create, and I love it. Yes, we all want our teams to win. I give you that. But I love the fact that college football is winning because now we're talking about 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 11, 13, 14 teams where we were only talking about 3 or 4 just 3 years ago. That's real. That's real. So I love it.
I agree. It's awesome. I've always hated the 14 playoff. I thought it was the stupidest thing. So I love that it's 12 teams. I think it makes things way more exciting. Yeah. And I was watching a video last night where it's like, you look at where college football was in the 90s, right? And they had just introduced the BCS system. At one point, there wasn't even a national championship game. They just you look at where the league, where it was then and where it is now. It's like, man, I mean, I think a lot of people are still very upset by the fact that money and these TV deals have played such a big factor to the point where it's killed a conference. A lot of people are upset about that, and I'm probably the same way, right? But
the conference did themselves, right? They didn't take care of business, and they did it to themselves.
Well, it's on the Pac-12. The Pac-12 did that to themselves.
These colleges start acting like they were living check to check. They went 6 months without sports, and they lost their minds. They can start cutting women's athletics, lower end male sports because we're out of money. 6 months in.
Yeah.
You talk about living paycheck to paycheck. These universities were living paycheck to paycheck, and I'm glad these players are making them pay.
And we talked about it all summer, where these interviews that we had, I think we've done a good job in showing the good side of NIL and also the bad side. And I think college football is a good example of the good side of NIL. But I think this summer we also showed what NIL has done on the bad side of things, right? And you just brought it up. It's cut different programs. It's done this. Well, and by
schools have done this because they were hemorrhaging money, and during COVID, they chose to do this.
Well, no, and then you talk about
where was all this money before? Is what I'm saying.
And you talk about and then we also highlighted it when we were interviewing coaches, right? Some of these D1 schools going down to D2 and stuff like that. So I think we've seen NIL in a good way, and we've seen it in a bad way as well. But I think for the sport of college football, and maybe even a little bit of basketball, but more so college football, it's definitely helped on the parity side of things as well. But no, I agree with you. I mean, the Pac-12, they pretty much did it to themselves. They didn't get a good TV deal.
It could be a segment by itself.
And I
got a lot to talk about with the Pac-12.
I did some research. The Pac-12 had a chance to get Texas and Oklahoma back in 2010, and they squandered it because they thought they were too good for them. Man, are you serious?
We can do a segment on this. Well, I don't want to hit it now because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the Pac-10, Pac-12, Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12, and their failures.
Yeah.
So I don't want to blow it right now, but there's a lot to talk about.
We have to do a segment on that. I think it'd be cool. But folks, that is going to do it. I'm going to watch Monday Night Football. Bears are up 7-3, by the way. They had an electric first drive. Bears fans are overreacting. That's going to do it, folks. We will see you guys more this week. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Game Time Podcast.
All the viewers, subscribers, friends, family of the Game Time Podcast, do me a quick favor. All right, reach out and get your T-shirts. If you look to the right of me or the left of me, you'll see both of my colleagues have these beautiful Game Time T-shirts.
Yeah, man, check it out. You see it right here, the logo that you see on the pod.
What you don't see is me with one, because they forgot to give me mine. So you go get yours before I get mine, all right? Because you're closer to the family than I am, because they left me out. I love those two, like cooked food, but they left me out. But you know what? They won't leave you out. Contact Isaiah, contact God. You can even contact me, and maybe we'll get ours together at the same time. All right?
We might.
Get in touch with us for details. We'll take care of you.
Absolutely. Rock the Game Time.
Game Time Podcast. That is right, folks. We are officially selling shirts. If you have any interest in buying them, let us know. $20 is the price for that. We're a startup selling them, so maybe Darrell will be nice. And
maybe some flexibility. You never know. Just reach out and see. These aren't free, but hey, we have some opportunity to put our word out there. The Game Time Podcast as we continue to grow, for sure.
It's all about support. So if you guys do want to support us, make sure you guys do let us know. Just something we're starting up. Just gonna see how it worked. We originally got them made for the pod, but then. We had a couple people reach out to me and Darrell about maybe wanting to buy some. So we were like, you know what? Why not make an announcement video? So if you're interested, please let us know. And we will see you guys next time right here on the Game Time Podcast.